Welcome to 10,000 Voices. Thank you so much for joining me this morning, MJ, all the way in my home in Durham, North Carolina. You're calling in from Tennessee, and I would just like to say thank you so much for joining me this morning to rehumanize our voices, share without shame, join in this amazing journey and live a limitless life. Go ahead and tell our audience a little bit about yourself and the work that you do.
Thank you so much for having me this morning. You know, I have a lot of admiration for what you do, and I'm always inspired by just everything that you post. And, you know, I follow you on LinkedIn, and we've had a chance to connect in person at a conference, and you are an amazing spirit and an amazing soul. So I really want to say thank you for having me. So just to share a little bit about what I do, I am a business owner. So I have a consulting firm, and it's called Inclusive Excellence Consulting. And I started it last year. I work in the diversity, equity, and inclusion space. And so we do a little bit of everything. We do workshops, we do trainings, we do equity audits, we do climate assessments, and even one-on-one coaching for clients. And especially as Black women, I think it's really important that our voices are amplified and that people understand we have very unique lived experiences that other folks may not fully understand unless we share our story. So I commend you for doing this. You know, I'm very much like, we have to make it known what we encounter on a day-to-day basis because we do deal with such unique situations.
Absolutely. Are you a boutique business owner from around the globe with a story to tell? Are you prepared to share without shame? If so, 10,000 Voices is waiting for you. For more information on how to be a guest on 10,000 Voices, go to www.thesagestewart.com and don't forget to click on that 10,000 Voices link. Yes, like I said, I could probably sit on that conversation all day, but I'm going to move on. What does living an abundant life mean to you? I never disclosed with any of my employers my neurodiversity, not out of anything other than, as we were talking about earlier, I was always the advocate. And so I did not know who my advocates in the room were. And so I never felt truly comfortable saying, oh, by the way, like, no, I wasn't late to a meeting. You didn't invite me. Like, I would say that, but I wouldn't say, and I know because this woman over here is diagnosed with OCD. And I also got my diagnosis later in life. And it came from a lot of anxiety. And I was like, why am I anxious about so much? Later in life, it's like, that's not anxiety, that's OCD. Here's how it's manifesting. Well, now this thing makes sense. And now I've got to hold my employers accountable in a different way, but I'm also not disclosing my full truth. And it became a really awkward dance of, I know you're not telling the truth. Here's how I know. And I'm not prepared to share this part of me because I don't know, are you going to abuse me because of it? Are you going to try and use it against me to tell me I'm now unqualified for my job, right? Like, there were so many unknowns that I was not willing to take that risk. And so I didn't say anything to anybody. And now to even say it to you, I'm like, yeah, it is what it is, right? Like, the OCD may or may not go away. I understand it makes me effective. Like, I get more done before 10 a.m. than most people get done throughout 24 hours. Like, I could almost guarantee it. And there's nothing out of place in my rhythm. And I also know when I'm in and out of rhythm, like, some people have a junk drawer. I'm like, junk drawer, what's that? Right? Like, there's so many advantages to living with what I call just a heightened awareness of my space. There's so many advantages to it that I dare say I don't even use the label anymore. I'm like, well, yeah, that's what it is. But what it really is these I ams. And I love a good I am. And so I stopped saying I am OCD. What I started saying was, and I had to work on my mindset of how I communicated it. It's like, I'm organized, I'm efficient. Right? Don't worry about this. Worry about how I am showing up in the room. And this shouldn't even bother you. This is none, right? And I think what I am hearing you say is the same thing is like, don't worry about this. This is not a conversation starter. The conversation starter is I am creative. I'm effective in these ways. I know how to build systems, not only for myself, but systems that are going to serve others who I now have this awareness about might be going through this thing.
Yes.
I love that.
Yes.
I'm here for it because it shifts us from accommodation to accessibility, which I think is where we should be anyway.
Right. That's exactly right. And you know what? I love one thing I think will help kind of dismantle the stereotypes around being neurodiverse is us really saying, these are my strengths. This is my superpower. And I love how you said, I am organized. I am, you went down your list. And I think that's going to be key too. And I will say, I have seen some recent movements around neurodiversity where I feel really inspired by it. I'm like, okay, people are really working hard to make sure that people understand like this could really be beneficial for employers to give, we bring certain skills and the ways of thinking that other folks don't. And so I'm really inspired by seeing how much people are doing, like some of these different organizations to create awareness.
Yeah. Because look, we're not going anywhere. And and we make really great employees when you think about it, because our lens to whatever that problem is going to be so uniquely defined. Nobody else in the room really will come up with these answers because we've had to look at the world in such a way for so long. It's innate, right? And I love that, to your point, companies are finally recognizing the real true benefits of this added layer of diversity when you think about our effectiveness in the workplace and how we get to show up differently.